distorted. All right. So, I intended to publish 4 videos this weekend. I'm going to warn you, though, that I officially have verification. Yes, I officially have my verification. I can make videos longer than 15 minutes. But I did that over the computer. The device I normally shoot videos from is acting up, so I have to use my phone, and I'm not sure if verification rules on the computer are the same as on the phone, so I don't want to gamble with that. I'm going to try to keep this under 15 minutes, but let's hope. Like, I understand a lot of you, not even really a lot, I understand that whoever watches my videos, you probably want to see something more than 15 minutes, but I'm afraid that I just don't want to gamble, okay? I don't want to do any real gambling. So, for right now, I'm going to try, but if it can be longer, that'd be nice. Okay, so what's this video? This video is about one of my favorite shows. I know I've talked on and on about Hogan's Heroes time and again in a few of my previous videos. But now I'm going to tell you about a different show. MASH. MASH, for those who don't know, is an acronym for Mobile Army Surgical Hospital. Basically, what they do is what they did back when we had them. The first MASH unit was deployed shortly before the end of World War II. I think it was about a week or two before Germany surrendered. I know it was after the German surrender. I'm not sure how long after Germany surrendered, but it was after that. But as for what they did, well, as the name implies, well, you see, what a MASH does, it travels all throughout a certain area, like a certain country that they've been deployed to, and every day gets new shipments of wounded, people from the battlefield who have been so wounded that they need surgery. And a MASH unit is usually mostly drafted. Very few people actually enlist to join the MASH unit, or at least they did. The first one was deployed after the German surrender, and, the last one was officially decommissioned in 2006. So these were around quite a while. Okay, so what's the MASH franchise about? It starts as a book in 1968 by Richard Hooker. Hooker is just his pen name. It's not his real surname. I just don't remember what his real surname is. So what else can be said? And then in 1970, they got a movie. I've not read the full book or seen the full movie. I've just read a few pages of the book scattered throughout the internet. And I've seen a few clips of the movie scattered throughout YouTube as well. And there's not much else I can really say about those. But what I've got is the TV show. I've seen quite a lot of this show. It's basically what you'd call a dramedy. It has drama, comedy, what you'd call situation comedy. And and it's about the fictional 4077th MASH unit as they go through comedy, drama, and a ridiculous amount of wounded every day. And that's not being metaphorical. I mean, they go through a lot of wounded every day. Ask anyone who knows this show, they'll tell you there's a lot of wounded. A lot of wounded. Who's among the 4077? As much as I know this show very well, let's stick with the first 3 seasons. How many seasons are there? There's 11. 11 seasons plus a finale. But let's just go by the first 3. First 3 seasons. Characters who are in the book, movie, and show. Their commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Henry Blake. Henry's a good guy. A caring husband, a family man, and a good surgeon. But he's not a very stable military commander. The best he can do in military command is increase morale. Because of him keeping up morale, all throughout the show, they say that they have a 97% casualty surviving rate. And that's partially thanks to Henry's ability to keep up morale. And as for what's he like, well, in the movie and book, he's a career officer, being commissioned shortly before World War II. In the show, he had a private medical practice, but first he was the athletic trainer for the University of Illinois football team. Like, whenever I write stories with MASH, whenever I write crossovers with MASH, I picture someone just calling him out on that, the whole, like, you were a football trainer? Because, like, I mean no disrespect to Henry, I mean no disrespect to him at all, I don't want to do that, but does anyone else question why they made a football trainer the head of a medical unit? I know I do. And so, yeah. So you get Henry, in the final episode of Season 3 is Henry's final appearance. He gets discharged, but his plane home is shot down. No survivors. They did this to remind everyone that it's war. Not everyone makes it home. Then you got Frank. Major Frank Ferret-Face Burns. Where does the nickname Ferret-Face come from? It was pinned on him by his brother when they were children, and has followed him all throughout his life into the Korean War. And so Frank is a subpar surgeon. Half the time, the others have to step in to keep his patients from dying. In fact, so much so that they even make a joke that they have to give him a rubber scalpel if they... Scalpel. Like, you don't want Frank to hold a lethal weapon, give him the rubber scalpel. And what of Frank's personality? Pardon my foul language, but Frank is an ass. He's an ass. He makes life miserable for everyone else because he's too strict on military discipline. He expects everyone to work more like machines than like how you'd expect people to work. And of course, there's also the fact that what really pisses me off, Frank is a married man, yet he keeps messing around with the head nurse as soon as he gets to Korea. And he thinks that their little affair is secret, but it's not. Everyone knows. And what else can be said? So about Frank, not much else can be said. They get rid of him because they kind of need to. In the book and movie, he's hauled back to a mental asylum in the States in a straitjacket. In the show, his final appearance is the season finale of Season 5. And, yeah, after that, the first episode of Season 6, they say that he hasn't returned from R&R, but he goes around off-screen, harassing numerous women. Numerous women. And is later brought in for psychiatric evaluation, and is supposed to get a Section 8 discharge For those who don't know, a Section 8 discharge is when you're too crazy for military service, like you're mentally unstable. But the U.S. Army of the 1950s, in all its glory, acquits Frank of the charges, transfers him to a stateside hospital, and promotes him to lieutenant colonel. Oh, the Army in the 50s. Yeah. Then, Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan. She's the head nurse she's the head nurse of the MASH unit. Originally, she starts off kind of like an army brat, someone who was raised in military life and tries to act military whenever they can, but as time goes on, we discover that she does have a soft side, and that she's really more human than she lets on. Excuse me. And it is very easy to bond with. Where does her nickname Hot Lips come from? From her little relationship with Frank that ends around season 5. Why does it come to an end in season 5? Oh, simple. Margaret gets engaged to another officer. Yeah. And after Margaret, then we get our main character, Captain Benjamin Franklin Hawkeye Pierce. Why they call him Hawkeye? Well, that's a nickname given to him by his father. And it comes from the book Last of the Mohicans. Hawkeye always says that his father was crazy about that book and crazy about Native Americans. So, basically that's all that I can say about that. And as for what else, well, he's our friendly, military life disliking, constantly drinking, having a little fun with his friends, being nice to the patients and the local Koreans, and constantly calling out Frank, on one occasion hitting Frank in the face. And always fraternizing with the nurses. Hawkeye is our main character. In the book and movie, he played football for his college. In the show, he's non-athletic. Hawkeye doesn't care for the brass, the high command, American generals. What he cares for is to do his job as a surgeon, and as chief surgeon of the 4077. A position that Frank figured that he should get since he's the unit's second in command and is a major, whereas Hawkeye is a captain. A little newsflash, Frank. Rank doesn't matter. What matters is your skills as a surgeon. And if you paid attention earlier in the video, you'll know I said Frank is a subpar surgeon. Yeah, so how can I best describe Hawkeye? He's a pacifist. He hates the idea of war. And he hates that he has to do meatball surgery in this place. And that he really has no choice because he got drafted. But he's grown to like the rest of the personnel, with the sole exception of Frank. And if you paid attention in this video, it's easy to see why. And Hawkeye is basically, he's more concerned with his job as chief surgeon than anything else. But he is not real equipped for military life. He doesn't like military life. Basically, he's eager to get back to civilian life. And I'd love to tell you the rest of what I know, but I said that I'm not going to gamble and keep this under 15 minutes. It's presently 14. So I'm going to have to split this into 2 parts, which makes this 5 videos over the weekend. Yeah, because I shot this on a Saturday. So, bye.